Every business owner I talk to right now is either afraid that AI is going to replace everything human in their operation, or they convinced that AI can handle everything human in their operation. And both of those people are building wrong. The businesses that are actually winning right now are not the ones who automated the most. They are the ones who automated the right things and kept the right things human. That distinction is not a philosophical debate, it is a revenue decision. And getting it wrong in either direction is expensive. Look, growing up in the Bronx, you learn fast that not every job needed a person and not every person was replaceable. My mother cleaned office buildings, my father fixed cars. Both of them worked inside systems that had roles that could have been standardized and roles that required human, genuine judgment. And the organizations that confused the two always paid for it eventually. I took that distinction into a career as a clinical analyst inside major hospitals where the question of who gets systemized and what stays human was never abstract. It was the difference between a patient who got the right outcome and the one who did not. You could automate scheduling, automate reminders, automate billing workflows, automate intake triage, automate follow up protocols. But you cannot automate the moment a physician looked into a patient in the eye and made a call that no algorithm had the context to make correctly. The system existed to protect that moment, not to replace it. To clear every obstacle between the human with the judgment and the decision that required it. That is the model. That is exactly the model your business needs right now. Imagine your operation 6 months from now running with that level of precision. Every repetitive, high frequency, high judgment task in your business is handled by an agent that never sleeps, never gets distracted, never forgets a step, and never has an off day. Your leads are captured, triaged, and moved through the early stages of your pipeline without a human being touching any of it. Your follow up fires on behavior, not on someone's memory. Your onboarding runs the same way for every client every time. And because of all that friction has been removed from your operation, the humans in your business, including you, are doing exclusively the things that require actual judgment. The creative calls, the high stakes conversation, the strategic decisions, the relationship moments that no agent can replicate because they require the kind of presence that only comes from a person who genuinely cares about the outcome. That's not a leaner business. That's a smarter one. And smarter compounds in the ways that leaner alone never will. Here's the one thing that separates the operators who are building correctly from the ones who are going to rebuild everything in 18 months when it breaks. And they belong in two completely different places inside your operation. The moment you ask an agent to do a judgment job or ask a human to do a friction job, you have misallocated your most valuable resources in both directions simultaneously. The whole game is knowing exactly where the line is and building the system on the right side of it. Here's your first secret. Stop thinking that automating more is always better. Automation applied to the wrong function does not save you time, it scales your mistakes. An agent running a follow up sequence that was never designed correctly does not just fail quietly, it fails at volume, consistently, to every lead in your pipeline, faster than any human could have managed to fail. The question is never how much can we automate. The question is which specific function in this operation are high frequency, low judgment, and currently costing us time and consistency that a system could handle better. Answer that question correctly, and automation becomes a force multiplier. Answer it wrong, and you have built a very efficient machine for producing the wrong outcome. Second secret, stop thinking that keeping humans in the process makes it more personal. Humans in the wrong part of a process do not add warmth, they add delay, variability, and the constant risk of a bad day affecting a client relationship that took months to build. Personalizations do not come from a human touching every interaction. It comes from a system that knows enough about the person to deliver the right message at the right moment, and then routes them to a human being at the exact point where a human presence actually changes the outcome. That sequencing is the architecture of a high trust, high converting client experience, and it requires knowing where the agent stops and where the person begins. That leads us to our third secret. Stop thinking that the goal is to remove humans from the parts of your business that are pushing them with repetitive, low value work and keeping them away from the high leverage moments where their judgment, their empathy, and their relationship building ability is the actual product. Your best people are not best utilized answering the same intake questions for the 14th time this week. They are best utilized in the room, real or virtual, where the decision gets made and the relationship gets deepened. Build a system that gets them there faster and keeps them there longer. Inside AI MoneyMaps, we built the agent architecture around a single governing question. What in this business requires a human, and what is currently being done by a human that should not be? We map the complete operational workflow, identify every function by type, and build an agent layer that handles every high frequency, low judgment task in the pipeline with precision and consistency. Automated lead capture and triage that routes every new contact to the right sequence without human intervention. Behavior trigger follow up that moves based on what the lead or the client actually does rather than what someone remembered to send. Intake and onboarding workflows that run identically every time, regardless of volume or staffing. Retention and re engagement systems that identify disengaging clients and respond before the relationship goes cold. And when we identify exactly where the human moments are, the conversations that require genuine judgment, the touch points where relationship depth is built, the decisions that require context no system will ever have, we built a handoff architecture that gets your people into those moments faster, better prepared, and without the cognitive load of having manually manage everything that came before it. This is not about replacing your team. It's about deploying your team correctly and deploying your agents correctly at the same time in the right places. Here's what I need to say to you straight because this moment in the market deserves honesty more than it deserves hype. There are two kinds of businesses being built right now with AI. The first kind is automating everything they can find to automate because automation feels like progress and speed feels like winning. Those businesses are going to hit a wall when their clients start feeling they are being processed instead of being served. And in high trust, high ticket markets, that wall comes faster and hits harder than most people expect. The second kind is doing nothing because they're waiting to understand it fully before they touch it. And those businesses are falling behind a curve that does not slow down for comprehension. The businesses that are going to own the next 3 years are the third kind. The ones building with intention, the ones who know exactly what the agent should handle and exactly what the human should handle, and have the architecture to make both perform at the highest level simultaneously. That is a buildable thing. It is not complicated, but it requires someone who has spent time inside complex systems thinking about where the machine serves the mission and where it undermines it. That's exactly the work I have been doing my entire career, long before it was called AI. So there's two choices. You keep running the operation where humans are doing friction work that exhausts them, and agents are either absent or misdeployed. Or you build an architecture that puts every friction in the right hands, removes the bottlenecks that are costing you revenue and burning out your people, and creates a business that runs with the precision of a system and the warmth of a team that is finally doing the work it was actually built to do. One of those businesses is exhausting to run. The other one is designed to compound. DM me the word money maps right now and let's map every function in your operation. Draw the line between agent work and human work and build an architecture that makes both perform exactly the way they should. The agentic revolution is not about replacing people. It's about deploying them correctly. So step in now.